Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another watch list. Basically, think of this as a monthly TV guide for me to let you know what and when TV shows that I'm interested in, that maybe you're interested in, are coming out. Like always, in the description down below, I'll include links to any trailers that might be available to anything that I bring up during this watch list. On May 6th on IMDb TV, we have Bosh Legacy, which I'm very excited about. This being a spin-off, but more so really a sequel to Bosch, obviously picking up after Harry put down his badge, and then this is following him as a private investigator. Interestingly enough, working quite a bit with Honey Chandler, which obviously that's always had varying results over the course of the series. They've butted heads. They've been on the same side when she represented him in the past. What was that? Season 5 she was representing him, and then also his disagreement on like how she operates. So but Harry finding his way forward now post being a cop, which I've never read the books, but I do know that Harry has had a multitude of jobs when it comes to that realm of things over the course of the books, because there are a lot of books. But aside from that, there's also Maddie's journey in becoming a cop, because at the end of Bosch she made that decision that she wanted to become a cop. So it's going to definitely be interesting to see Maddie's journey and seeing her view on things, especially with her dad's experiences, what he went through, how things played out for him, why he decided to walk away, and how Maddie kind of comes to terms with that, and what she wants from her life, and what she wants to be able to do with the badge, and what she hopes from it. So, because she always, like, you know, admires her father and wants to become a good cop like him. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm very excited to see where the series ends up taking us. Next up, on May 13th on Netflix, we have The Lincoln Lawyer. This being a series adaptation of the movie, which that in itself was an adaptation of a book. I've never seen the movie. I think the movie was like 2009 with Matthew McConaughey. I never knew that that's why it's called The Lincoln Lawyers, because he literally works out of a Lincoln. But basically, it's a lawyer trying to investigate a crime, and just kind of how his life kind of gets, I think, turned upside down because of getting so invested in this situation, and how dangerous things come, because it's like, right, you're representing this person, and I think it was a thing of like, did he murder someone, yes or no, and coming to the truth of that and finding out, you know, it just seems like an interesting series. Once again, I've never seen the movie, so I don't even have anything to compare to, nor have I read the book that it's originally based on either, so I'm kind of going into this with fresh eyes. And once again, I prefer TV format, serialized format, I should rather say. So I'm really, you know, once again, as someone who's never seen the movie or anything, I'm excited to check the series out. On May 15th on HBO, we have the series premiere of The Time Traveler's Wife, which, much like the previous situation, I've never watched the movie, nor read the novel that it's originally based on, but I don't know why, like, I had a very different notion of what that whole storyline was, and then seeing the trailer for the show, I was like, whoa, this story isn't what I thought it was. This guy basically kind of has almost like time travel sickness, where basically he's kind of like going in and out of time, and it's this beautiful time travel love story. And it very much reminds me of River Song and the Doctor, how their relationship was kind of told out of sequence. You know, it very much is like that, and I think that's such a beautiful thing, which makes me wonder, was like the Doctor and River Song relationship kind of like an homage to The Time Traveler's Wife? Maybe it wasn't, and I never understood that, like, the homage and reference they were making, if that was the intention, which I feel like now in retrospect it feels like it was. But it seems like, you know, I'm a sucker for a good romance story, and knowing, like, right, the ins and outs of this, there is extenuating circumstances to it too, because it seems like, I guess, people are finding out about his circumstances and then maybe trying to hunt him down, because he's kind of been on the run and defending himself. Even just like learning the ins and outs of how this time travel works and why it works the way it does, like finding out those circumstances. And once again, this beautiful and kind of almost tragic love story of just like, right, meeting someone out of order. It's like, right, when I meet you, you don't know me, but I know our story. You know, once again, that's why the Doctor and River Song's relationship was always like very captivating for me. So to kind of get that in this vein as well, once again, this story predates that, I'm pretty sure the novel predates that, but regardless, I'm very excited to check the series out. On May 20th on IMDb TV, there's this new series, I'm probably going to butcher this, but I think it's called Tropo. Basically, it's this series where a woman who's kind of got her shady criminal past is working with an ex-cop, and they're trying to investigate some murders and disappearances, because I think like some people have been fed to some alligators and trying to figure out all the criminal things that have kind of taken place in like this small town where she kind of has a crappy reputation. Like it's either her or the ex-cop. I think it's more so her that has this reputation that kind of like ruined the town. She did something that kind of tarnished the town's name, and so these two like these people with, it seems like, complicated past and circumstances have to work together, and while also dealing with whatever their past situations are that led them there. So it's something I'm not well versed in. I think it's based on a book or something. I might be remembering that wrong. I do know that this is an Australian show. It has actually already aired internationally, at least in Australia. I don't know outside of the US whether or not it's aired anywhere else internationally, but here in the US at the very least, it's going to be airing on IMDb TV, so that's going to be interesting, because I don't know what the IMDb TV situation is internationally, whether that, because I know Amazon Prime Video is a thing internationally, I think, but I don't know if IMDb TV is. You'd think so, because that's kind of all under the same umbrella, but regardless. On May 27th on Netflix, we have Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 1, because the 4th season is being split into 2 parts. The next part's in July, if I remember correctly. It's not that far apart. It's kind of like very much what they're doing with the final season of Ozark, which literally dropped today at the time of me recording this. Which I need to get on that as well as something else. But tangents aside, I'm very, very excited for Stranger Things. That trailer just got me even more hyped. I've been waiting so long for this season. I loved season 3. Season 3 might be my favorite. And so the developments, how everything ended up, and you know, I'm excited just for what we see, like the haunted house element, the thing that's ultimately going to bring everyone together. 11 still doesn't have her powers, so how is that going to get resolved? All those things we've seen, are they flashbacks, or is that something present day? Like, that's been a question I've had. Also, what's going on with Max this season? It seems like there's something there, so like the question is what that's all about. But also, I'm very excited. Our progression with the villain this season seems like a villain. It seems like it's like been a very nice progression of the show, along with just the characters, the world building, as well as the villain itself, like what that circumstance ends up being and how that plays out, especially with like where they decide to leave us off with when they split with the season split the way it is. Also, everything with Hopper in Russia. There's just a lot of exciting things, so I'm very excited. I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch season 3. I remember bits and pieces, but I like a larger refresher. So definitely gonna have to get on that sometime soon before season 4. Well, either part of season 4, but especially the first part drops. So, and finally, on May 31st on the CW, we have the Tom Swift series, which is very interesting because I tried not to read too much about stuff like this, but I had no idea. I mean, to be fair, they kind of did a backdoor pilot for this back in season, I want to say that was 2, but yeah, it was season 2. Yes, the character was introduced then, and now we're kind of getting a spin-off with him. I don't think there's any like official trailers or anything out yet, but I've seen this there, which I'm actually, for one, I'm surprised because the CW's kind of like ended up like axing a lot of like spin-off stuff. So like for this to get one, I was like, oh wow. So, well, like this and something else had gotten made. I was like, oh wow, I'm surprised the CW's doing any spin-offs at all. But obviously, it's a character we got introduced to. We got a little peek into his world. I'm also curious to see what like the feel and vibe of the show is going to be in comparison to Nancy Drew, because Nancy Drew is very like this supernatural like horror mystery series. It has like horror-esque elements to it, but it definitely leans heavily into the supernatural side of things, which I always talk about. I was under the impression it was only going to be a little bit. It's like the main crux of that show is super into the supernatural, which I'm totally fine with. It's just not what I thought the show was going to be. Obviously, when we got introduced to Tom, he had like very like high-tech stuff. So I'm curious, like, is the show going to be like more, not mystery revolving like that? Maybe it will, but maybe he's more action adventure rather than crime solving like Nancy Drew. I'm curious to see, is his show going to lean into the supernatural? What other characters we're going to get introduced to? Obviously, we know the very complex relationship he has with his father. So diving into a lot of that, I'm really interested. I'm sure there's articles out there that give you a better understanding what the show is. I've not read anything. I was like, I could, but it's like, no, I want to go in blind to see, you know, kind of be surprised on what the show is, you know, and just, you know, Are there going to be any like cameos and wink and nods to Nancy Drew and whatnot? So I'm excited to see what the show is all about. So that brings this month's watch list to an end. Like always, if there's something that's coming out that maybe I wasn't aware of, that you're aware of, that you believe me or someone else might be interested in, don't be afraid to leave it in the comments down below. But really, that's all I'm going to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.